Welcome, Gateway students. We are now in episode cuatro. I should have just done a little translation on episode, but here we are, episode cuatro. Last time we talked about just social media and the influence that it has kind of on your life. We talked about just the seeds that it plants, every reel, every post. And so I think we wanted to elaborate more on that in this episode. So why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. So Noah kind of talked about this, like planting seeds. You told a brief story about family members who they're constantly watching like horror movies and just kind of feeling things or having like a heightened sense of paranoia. Yeah. And then I kind of talked a little bit about just like how our feeds like need to kind of be reset almost, or like how certain things that we like, that's public. Accounts that you follow, stuff like that. Like there was a point where it was like, somebody said something super controversial, and I'll try to keep it as neutral as I can. They said something super controversial, borderline on racial lines, and I was like, man, that shouldn't have been said. I think it was some pastor. Went to the pastor's profile, went to who they followed, and I was like, or who followed them, and it was like, I just scrolled through, and it was like so many of my friends. And then like another pastor recently, there was a podcast about kind of his like crash out in the Pacific Northwest. And I don't want to tag his name or anything like that because he's really mean. And I don't know if my feelings can handle it. No, but so I went through like people that follow him, and I'm like, man, like that's crazy. Not because we shouldn't have other people's opinions, but it's like, man, who we follow, that's almost like an endorsement. Like an endorsement of that lifestyle or of whatever it is. And so like I have to consider like being somebody that's not just like another guy, but also like I have students. I carry influence in a lot of people's lives as a pastor. So I have to like consider the things I like, the things I share, the things I comment on, the way that I interact with people when I get into arguments online, or the accounts that I follow. And like, okay, if a sixth grader is going through my follow list on Instagram, like, is everybody that I follow, am I cool with them seeing that I follow that?
Right.
And so now I'm like thinking about it. Now I'm like thinking through my list, like who's going on. So yeah, just talking about like what's forming us, and like this idea of everything is forming you, but it's like, what do you allow to kind of like consume your life? Yeah. And it's like, I think what did you say in the car? Do you remember the phrase you said? Yeah.
Are you consuming or being consumed?
Yeah. Are you consuming or being consumed? So, is there anything that you'd like to add, kind of based on that, like seed kind of forming, growing kind of thing that we started with last week?
I mean, I said most of it there. I think, just going off are you a consumer or being consumed? Like, I think what we're influenced by has the power to either bring like insecurity or anxiety, or like I was talking about with the TED Talks of like, that's a great way to use social media as a tool and to learn. And there are plenty of those clips that you see online, including this one, which this is the irony behind it too. But it's like, if that's what you're using social media for, then it's not an evil thing. Right. It's like, how are you using it? How are you using it? Yeah. Are you letting it be a tool? Are you letting it control? Do you control your apps, or are you letting it control your anxiety, your fear? Like, yeah.
And like the term brain rot is funny, and like we kind of pass it around. And there's a couple of other terms that are used to kind of like this overconsumption, and like we call it brain rot. My dad used to call what did he call it? It was like the Cartoon Network show Ed, Edd and Eddy. He was like, man, you're just watching that brain rot. Yeah. Because like we didn't have cable growing up. Yeah. So like my parents just chose not to spend money on that. And like whenever we'd go on vacation, my brother and I would just be like zoning out on the TV, like SpongeBob or, Ed, Edd and Eddy. Or like SpongeBob. So it was like in dosing. It was like it was crazy. So we were like, but our brain rot was a phrase used for something that was on TV. And that was like maybe for a couple like 30-minute episodes or whatever. Yeah. And then it was kind of done. The show ended and we just kind of went on with whatever we're doing for the vacation. But it's like now that we always have our phones on us, like, man, the brain rot's real. The iPad kid syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, everybody is an iPad kid because even if the iPad is the size of your cell phone, so it's like, man, it's deforming not just the students or the young people, unk status,
stat,
but it's also like our older people too, like our parents, our grandparents, even like that they just scroll on Facebook all the time. And it's like, you kids and your dang phones. And it's like, you spend just as much, if not more. So like I started asking like people for screen time stats. They're like, if they get on my case about like usage on your phone.
Yeah.
So before I get into one of the things that I wanted to share kind of about like resetting our brains, pull up your screen time.
Oh, you didn't want to prep me before that?
Nope. I wanted to shock you with
I'll tell you. Okay.
What was your weekly average last week? So if you guys don't know, to find your screen time, you go to settings. You can swipe down until it pops up like this search bar on top and just type in screen time. Some of you have parents that put up restrictions on it. Sorry, but I mean, I think that that's probably a good thing. So averages, it's right on the top. So your weekly average, let's look here. Last week, I was on my phone a lot last week. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. My last week's average was 6 hours and 10 minutes.
Okay.
That was up from the week before.
But here's the thing: are we doing breakdowns? Doing app breakdowns? That's expensive.
I set app limits on my phone.
Oh, okay.
So I have an hour and a half on Instagram. I have an hour on TikTok. No, for per day. An hour on on Facebook. I'm not hitting Facebook or TikTok hours. I'm not getting close to that.
Anymore? So, come on.
Yeah. Mostly use it for Marketplace. Got to get those deals.
Yes, those $100 scooters.
Dude, I'm searching. Okay, so this week, or last week was 6 hours and 10 minutes. What was yours last week?
4 hours and 57.
Oh. What was your breakdown? What was the highest used app?
Wait, how does that even work though? Messages? No, how does the math even add up?
I don't know how it works. I think it's just like if it's open on your screen. You know.
Well, so messages.
That was your top used.
Listen, I'm a networker. Okay, I'm a networker. 7 hours. But how does that make
per day?
No. Last week.
Okay.
Week. I don't know. Wait, let me see per day. Because how does that make any sense if my thing was close to 5 and I have 7 hours on whatever? This is the thing.
Man, who are you texting so much?
It's messages and Spotify.
Okay. Yeah, Spotify was up there for me too. Okay, this week, my daily average was about not very good. Today, or this week is 4 hours already. I watched a lot of YouTube yesterday. Like what I'll do, I'll set it up. TED Talks or mini documentaries or like podcasts or whatever. So, okay, enough of that. I took a break from social media for Lent. Some people call it a fast. I guess you could call it a fast. It wasn't like a full, didn't go on it at all. Like sometimes I'd pop in to check like Facebook Marketplace if I was posting something to sell or whatever. And YouTube too for, videos. Didn't really count. YouTube it wasn't a full social media detox, but I did notice like my anxiety was down. My comparison was down. I didn't feel as impulsive with like wanting to buy stuff.
Ooh, that's
which is a big one.
Yeah.
And, I feel like I connected with more people. Like I'd text people. Like if I thought about them, I'd text them.
Yeah.
Or, give them a call or whatever. And so then, Easter weekend, re-downloaded all the apps, all of that, like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Those are the 3 that I use. And I didn't really notice too much of a change. I wasn't like right back to just doom scrolling the whole time. And like I said, I have app limits, which I think is helpful, but I noticed, probably this week that things started like my mental like health started to shift a little bit. Like I was really anxious this week for whatever reason. It could be social media. It could be other things like just work stress or whatever. But I also noticed I wanted to buy more stuff. I was comparing like different student ministry stuff. Like a friend of mine, which I haven't talked to him yet, but shout out Zach, his youth group is also doing something very similar to our theme for their summer kickoff. And I was like, dang, did this fool take this from me? We took it from somebody else. Like it's not an original thought. So it's like, okay, what's going on there? Yeah, I just like even yesterday, Mother's Day, hanging out with Lucy, all of that. I could have done more like creative stuff, photography, all that kind of stuff. Like I could have done something more creative or productive, not like to just fill time, but to actually feel a sense of like value of my day.
Yeah.
And I doom scrolled until I hit my app limit. And I was like, oh, man, like what did I do? I kind of wasted the day.
Yeah.
So I put down my phone, picked up a book and was reading, and it was great. But that kind of goes to show that like you might not notice that social media is like being like bad for you or like deforming you until you get away from it for a while and then come back. Yeah. And I'm not advocating that people are just like, they kind of ride that roller coaster of like, delete, get back on, delete, get back on. But rather like, do you have moments in your day or your week to just pause and to be away from your phone or to be away from social media?
Yeah. I think like if we just think about a visual pie representation, when you remove that just social media kind of time that you spend, but also just that kind of part of the brain where it kind of lives. I think I think when like what you're saying, once you got rid of that, I think just your brain is more free to be like, yeah, I'm thinking about this person. Oh yeah, I remember they said that. And then you have just that more even emotional capacity to like actually do those things. But then also like, and this can be said about AI too, but just kind of I don't know how to say it, like not draining the creativity, but almost relying on something to do that for us. And yes, SummerSlam wasn't an original thought as much as I want to think that it was our idea, but like, I think there's less freedom to just be and to think and kind of let your creativity run free.
Yeah.
I think that's something that kind of slowly been losing.
Yeah.
Especially with AI having ChatGPT do everything for us. So,
and to be fair, I mean, Zach's event looks awesome.
Yeah.
And so does ours. Those two things can exist at the same time.
Yes.
That was just an example. So don't hurt me, Zach. Love you. Okay. So I guess what is the alternative to social media? Like we want to fill our time.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't just say like, well, just go pick up and read a book. Not everybody is wired that way. So like, how are you kind of having a balance in your social media usage?
Yeah, I think it's the same of like how the content that you're filling it with. I think that honestly is what it comes down to, because we're not here saying like social media is evil. You have to delete all social media. Mm-hmm. It's horrible for you. It's like, no, I think it's how you use it. I think and you were talking about this too, like who are you following? It's like, man, if you're just following or your feed is brain rot, then like, hey, you're getting brain rot. Like, but if you're following, the devotional videos or like, if it is like mental health stuff, like whatever, then you're like, that's what's, and it's the same way of like, it's the same of like, man, if you go to church on a Sunday, right, and you're listening to a sermon, it's like you can still do that online, and you can get different perspectives from different pastors and stuff. The same way we're talking about this. So I think the balance of like, man, what are you actually consuming is really the whole thing. Yeah. And sometimes I think you can have a little bit of a mix. We can have videos of guys jumping, $100 mopeds over dirt mounds. And whatever. I think there's, you can still be entertained.
It should still be fun.
It should still be fun. Yes. Yeah. It should still be fun.
Yeah.
But there's a balance.
Well, and I think like, especially back to the Christian content, I can kind of get up on my high horse about this a little bit, but it's like, I don't follow a lot of preachers. Like, I don't follow a lot of people that like have a very prominent voice. not because I don't respect them, not because I'm not inspired by them or anything, but rather, do I want them to form me? Like, do I want to be like them? Probably not. Like, for example, like I really do respect and enjoy Stephen Furtick and his style. But it's really not for me. And but I listen to John Mark Comer a lot. Yeah. John Mark Comer, it's really chill. It doesn't get me super hyped, but rather it's like a deeper contemplative thing. And that's definitely more my spirituality. Yeah. So I follow a lot of Catholic influencers, or I follow a lot of Orthodox or whatever, like a little slower spirituality rather than just like the consumption, like, or rage bait. There's so much Christian rage bait right now. Yeah. It's like, can we just chill for a second, talk about like what's forming you and what we're for versus just talk about what we're against or getting super political or whatever. So
that's good.
Yeah. Is there any other closing thoughts that you have before we finish this episode?
I mean, I think we hit it all. I think the main thing is just, how are you using social media? It can still be fun. But just be cautious of what you're consuming. Are you letting it consume you? Are you letting it control you? Or are you controlling how you use it? I think is what it comes down to. So, yeah.
Cool. That's good. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Episode Quattro, as Noah Marshall said.
Salvador Blanca.
Yeah. I don't quite know exactly what we're going to talk about the next one, but if you guys have any suggestions or if you would like to be part of this, send us a DM, and we would love for you to kind of have a little bit of input to our students' podcast, because we can't just have us old heads talking the whole time. Yeah. So you're an old head now, by the way. Unkstat. Yeah.
All right.
We need to get you some loafers.
I don't know about that. I'll rock some suspenders though.
Okay.
I'll rock some
suspenders and loafers. Yes. That's Noah's wish list. So
there you go.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys very soon.